Let's talk Tanya for the 8th of Teves. Yesterday we started a conversation about the special category of ingestible klipa. And yesterday we spoke specifically about forbidden foods that aren't kosher. Today we're going to find out there's also spiritually ingestible klipa. And by that we mean secular studies. Yes, secular studies is klipa. Now before you get all upset about me for saying that, let's remind ourselves, what is klipa? Klipa is something which there's a shell. It does not reveal its godly truth. And secular wisdom also, it doesn't, although obviously it has some sort of godly spark and godly core and godly objective or it wouldn't exist, but ultimately it conceals that truth. Now, just like in the world at large, we have two different categories of klipa. There is klipas nega, which is permitted klipa, which we can elevate. And then there's also gimel klipas hatmeis, the lower klipa, which we cannot elevate. The same thing is when it comes to secular wisdom. There are certain types of secular wisdom, which are gimel klipas hatmeis. In other words, the lower category of klipa, they cannot be elevated because they are forbidden. For example, studying about philosophy of avodas, of idolatry, which according to Torah is forbidden. So that there's nothing to talk about. That is absolutely gimel klipas hatmeis, which means that is irredeemable klipa. However, there are many other topics and subjects in secular wisdom, math, medicine, geometry, whatever it may be, which they are permitted. There is no prohibition in the Torah against studying them. But at the same time, it is klipas nega, which means it is klipa. And as we've already learned, that klipa, in order for it to be elevated, it has to be engaged for a godly purpose. So the Alter Rebbe says the same is true when it comes to secular wisdom. It needs to be engaged for a godly purpose, and there are two possibilities in that. One is that you're studying secular wisdom, you're studying a topic in order to be able to understand Torah better or appreciate God better, but that is actually your intention. That's not your excuse. That's actually your intention. Another one is to be able to amass the information and the wisdom that you need in order to be able to earn a livelihood, in order to be able to serve God. And again, as long as you have that intentionality while you're doing it, and this is again an expression of the godly soul, this is all about my service of God, then that can be elevated as well. But if it's not elevated, if it's not done properly, the problem is it's not only that it's klipa, but as mentioned yesterday with the food, it's klipa that you're taking in. And you're not taking it in physically. You're not taking it into your physical bloodstream, but you're taking it in spiritually. And taking in and absorbing and ingesting spiritual klipa is very dangerous, which is why secular studies, it has to be approached with a great deal of caution. With this, we've concluded our discussion about the animal soul. So, just to recap, in chapter 1 of Tanya, we spoke about the substance of the animal soul, which is its DNA, which is klipa. Then chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5 was about the godly soul. These three chapters we just finished now, 6, 7, and 8, are about the animal soul, and we've learned the structure of the animal soul, which again mirrors the structure of the godly soul, the three intellectual attributes and the 7 emotional ones. And we've learned about the garments of the animal soul, which is thought, speech, and action. And now we know what are the thoughts, speech, and action of the animal soul. Anything which isn't holy, anything which is not a mitzvah or is not done with the intention of serving Hashem. And tomorrow, we are going to have one more piece of information that we are going to need about the animal soul and the godly soul, which is going to be necessary for us to know before we move on to discussing the actual battle between the godly soul and the animal soul.